So I went to the Pokemon 2023 San Diego Regional Championships as a new player in hopes to gain a competitive experience and eventually shoot for the highest accolade obtainable, World Champion. My finishing record was 15 wins and 10 losses, averaging a 60% win rate. This is my team report. Up first, we're going to go over the standard sets. We have a Mungus with the ability being Regenerator, Terra type being Water, EV is 236 HP, 156 defense, 116 special defense with a bold nature. For my moveset, I went for Rage Powder, Clear Smog, Spore, and Protect. I picked the Mungus to the level of support it offers the team through Redirection with Rage Powder, Status Ailments with Spore, and Stat Control with Clear Smog. I went for Terra Water to help increase its bulk against things that it's usually weak to by turning things like its Fire weakness into a resistance and Psychic and Flying weaknesses into neutral damage. Up next, we have Grimmsnarl with Light Clay, ability being Prankster, the Terra type being Steel, and for my EVs I went 252 HP, 140 defense, and 116 special defense with a Careful nature. For my moveset I selected Light Screen, Reflect, Spirit Break, and Thunder Wave. Grimmsnarl was a key component to slow down games through reducing damage with screens, as long as you don't get hit with a critical hit, of course. Grimmsnarl also has the ability to offer a minor form of speed control through Thunder Wave while also slowing down my opponent's damage output through potential full paralysis. For the final move slot, I decided to go for Spirit Break as a form of damage output in case I get taunted and need extra damage to pick up a KO, or to further decrease the amount of damage that my opponent is doing to me personally. Last but not least, in the standard sets for the team, we have Skeledirge with Citrus Berry, my ability being Unaware, my Terra type being Grass, and for my EVs I went 244 HP, 28 defense, 156 special attack, 76 special defense, and 4 speed. For my nature I went Modest, and for my moveset I went Torch Song, Shadow Ball, Slack Off, Protect. I knew I wanted some form of Fire Stab on the team without having to go for it with a Terra, so I decided to go with Skeledirge due to its natural bulk and its favorable matchup into most Dondozo sets, thanks to its Unaware ability and also the Terra Grass. And now for the spicy sets. We have Palafin with Safety Goggles, ability being 0 to Hero, Terra type Water, and for my EVs I went 212 HP, 156 attack, 52 defense, 84 special defense, and 4 speed with an adamant nature. For my moveset I went for Bulk Up, Jet Punch, Drain Punch, and Protect. Now I know Palafin wasn't incredibly underused, as it is a Pokemon that not only saw success in the San Diego Regional, but also had some accomplishments in online tours. The difference between my Palafin and their Palafin, however, comes in the set. Rather than treating Palafin as a choice sweeper, I opted for a bulkier set that could sustain through Drain Punch late game with screens, having potential setup with Bulk Up and respectable damage to Terra Water priority Jet Punch. Safety Goggles was there strictly for Amoonguss and Volcarona, as I neither wanted it to get redirected by Volcarona into a potential Flame Body activation, or slept by Amoonguss, as it really is one of 2 damage outputs on the team. Now, I know this next one won't make sense as a quote-unquote spicy set, but it's really just in the moveset. We have Meowscarada with Focus Sash, the ability being Overgrow, Terra type being Grass, and for my EVs I went for 4 HP, 252 attack, 252 speed with Jolly Nature. My moveset is Flower Trick, Knockoff, Pollen Puff, and Protect. Just like Palafin, Meowscarada was extremely common and has an insane amount of success under its belt, but the reason it earns a spot in the Spice section is its moveset. Flower Trick and Knockoff were extremely common on Meowscarada sets, but the move Pollen Puff, I don't think anybody has used it. The reason why I put it on is because, number one, I still one-shot opposing Meowscarada with Pollen Puff, or you know, where I would usually have a U-turn, but I also can set up a game where I have Palafin behind screens going for either Bulk Ups or Drain Punches or Jet Punch while also being healed by Meowscarada through Pollen Puff. Also, Meowscarada is on the team because it offers me more Dondozo hate, which I expected to see anywhere, even though I only ran into it 1 round. But even if I didn't run into Dondozo, Meowscarada also does extremely good into a lot of the metagame that was heading towards San Diego. Also, fun fact, even though I used Jolly Max Speed Meowscarada in my run, I actually left San Diego with losing 9 out of 10 speed ties in every run. Now, this is definitely the most how do I put this? The spiciest set on the team. It is Krookodile with Assault Vest, ability being Intimidate, and Terra type Fairy. My EVs being 252 HP, 100 attack, 28 defense, 124 special defense, and 4 speed with an adamant nature. For my moveset, I went for Stomping Tantrum, Rock Slide, Foul Play, and Terra Blast. Intimidate as an ability is extremely good. However, its viability took a hit due to the fact that Clear Amulet is in the game, and number 2, we got 2 incredible Defiant Pokemon in Annihilate and King Gambit. However, as the metagame developed, a lot of people decided to drop Clear Amulet because Intimidate was no longer present. Which is why I kind of felt like bringing an Intimidator to this tournament was not necessarily the best call, but a good call. In my head, I went through the 2 popular Intimidate Pokemon, that being Gyarados and Arcanine. However, I was already doubling up in Grass types, and I didn't want to double up in either Water or Fire since I already had Skeledirge and Palafin. And then I looked at Krookodile, and in testing, it did way better than I thought it would. Krookodile, through Foul Play, can essentially deal with Annihilate if it gets a Defiant boost, and if it doesn't get a Defiant boost, then I also have options like Rock Slide, if it's Terra, Stomping Tantrum, etc. Terra type Fairy means that the Annihilate can't physically touch Krookodile, especially if it's behind screens. Rock Slide covers for King Gambit's common Terra Flying, and if it doesn't go for the Terra Flying, Stomping Tantrum is an option. And it also does really good into a lot of the really common teams that I faced during my run. Number 1, Grimmsnarl Krookodile completely walls the Armarouge and DD strategies. I ran into it in one of my rounds, and the way it goes is you lead Krookodile and Grimmsnarl and you set up Light Screen turn 1, and then you start like going for Foul Play, Spirit Breaks. The damage output is not so high for my team, which is good for this specific matchup, because it means that my opponent is either A, forced to wait until I get a KO so they can swap in their sweeper, or number 2, my opponent then has to hope for me to get a crit. Otherwise, what's going to happen is, by the time I pick up my first KO, there is only 1 turn of Trick Room left and 1 turn of Psychic Tornado left. Which means that by that point, if you have a full Trick Room team, by that point, like, I have the advantage because you won't have the speed control that you need for the team anymore available to you. Now, obviously, you could always swap in, but a lot of the common sweepers for Trick Room didn't really want to take damage from Krookodile. Things like, for example, Torkoal. The only one that I could think of that could deal with Krookodile was essentially like Hariyama. But I did have Terra Fairy and Terra Blast on my Krookodile, which means that even that is not that viable of an option into it. Another matchup that the Krookodile really helped me in was the Double Dragons matchup. With Intimidate and everybody dropping Clear Amulet, it meant that I could Intimidate Grimmsnarl, and a lot of the Grimmsnarls were opting for like Terra Fire, Terra Water, dropping their ground typing, which meant that I could Thunder Wave them, and then I could go for Paraflinch if I wanted to. Otherwise, I could go for just more consistent damage options. The key of the team was to essentially slow down the metagame, or not the metagame, slow down the game state to a point where Palafin could very easily just pick up KOs in the back with the help of like Meowscarada. Stomping Tantrum also means that I can hit Goldengo for super effective damage, unless it Terra Flies, and if it Terra Flies, I can still hit the Goldengo with super effective damage through Rock Slide. And it also can't touch me as long as I have Intera because I have Assault Vest and I'll usually be behind screens. Another reason I picked Krookodile for this team is that Palafin needs to swap out in order to be at its full potential. Now, I did have ways to swap into like grass type attacks, but I didn't really have a way to swap into an electric type attack, which is why I picked Krookodile, because Krookodile being a ground type means that it's completely unaffected by electric type moves. And again, it being able to slow down game states with Grimmsnarl is absolutely perfect for the Palafin sweep in the back. I also do want to note that with both Meowscarada and Skeledirge in the team, I felt really comfortable in the Dondozo matchup, so I just wanted a Pokemon that could essentially handle the rest. And knowing that Krookodile in testing did really good into the other matchups that Meowscarada and Skeledirge don't necessarily want to face, it just solidified its position on the team for me. My goal before the tournament was to create a team where I felt that regardless of the matchup, there was a line that I could take in order to land victory. I focused on building a team that had all the answers to the 3 most popular teams I expected to run into, that being Dondozo, Merkur Hyper Offense, and Indeedee Armorer's Trick Room. And while my game plans paid off against all of these teams that I faced in tournament, it also meant I had no lines against the rest of the meta. Everyone has a plan to you get hit in the face with Raging Bulls and Salazzle, which was the team that put my win streak to a screeching halt. I still have lots to learn when it comes to VGC, and although my score is not something I can be proud of regardless of my skill level, I'd be lying if I said this run didn't motivate me to improve regardless of the amount of work I have to do. I'm already preparing for Orlando. I hope to see you all there.